Flavors to slide this morning, Motivation Monday, with the great Christopher Roberts. I've been doing a lot of dancing. Matter of fact, I'm trying to get my legs underneath me this morning has been tough. But anyway, I'm Frank Sinclair. I'm the Chief Encouragement Officer for Dream Again Business Consulting, where we bridge the gap between discouragement and hope. And we also ask that you go to Amazon, pick up one of my 3 books that are available to you on Amazon: Your Personal Business Coach, Your Personal Life Coach, and Dream Again, Lessons on Leveraging Your Pain. So we are in studio this morning, Lisa, with 4 lovely humans.
Yes.
Right? And you're the person that's we always have to give Lisa the credit, because she brings these people to the studio and she helps us to make shows that are encouraging and uplifting to you in community. Who did you bring today, Lisa?
Well, today our awesome panel host is Miss Sherry Porter. So thank you so much for bringing on these guests. Whoop, whoop. So Sherry is a mortgage loan officer at Mason Mac. She's got great things going on there. She could update us in a little bit. And she's got her sister in the house, Miss Tracy Porter. Yeah. And Tracy, she actually represents Food Truck Against Homelessness locally here. She's the founder and weekly program organizer of Food Trucks Against Homelessness. Their mission is to serve a hot meal weekly and to connect our houseless neighbors in a way that makes them feel seen, validated, and worthy.
Oh, my.
So welcome, Tracy.
Thank you for having me.
And Miss Erica Wald, she's a project management coach for a medical device company and real estate investor. She gives her time to Saving Hearts Together Costa Rica, and that's a healing place for girls that have been trafficked. She's passionate about showing people they are valuable and cared for, and they too are needed. So welcome, Erica. And last but not least, Miss Chloe. How do you pronounce your last name?
Heft.
Heft. See, I was going to mess that up. I knew it. It's Hoeft. Anyway. So she is a local communications director, marketing professional, and was recognized recently as a 2023 6035 Media Rising Star. She is a passionate storyteller and is dedicated to making a difference in the Colorado Springs community, one partnership at a time. And we have our first studio audience here. Amelia is in the house. Yeah, Amelia Levay. Welcome.
Wow, studio audience. Wow, this is something new, but something cool. We know Amelia very well. She is very awesome in her space. Sherry, we're going to start with you, since you're the one that brought the game together, so to speak. Right? Tell us a little bit about the awesome, amazing Sherry Porter.
Yeah, because you are actually getting out there.
Question.
Yes.
Well, I am super passionate about connecting people, as you know. I love to meet people. I love to help people. I love connecting people, and finding these 3 amazing women to come here and share their stories is something I love to do. So.
Indeed,
Yes.
indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, both you and I know Sherry well.
Yes.
Yeah, and we see that out in community, the things that you do in a way, and I've had the pleasure of having one-on-ones with you a few times as well. Your heart is something that's really near and dear to our community, and it connects so incredibly well. So thank you for being you.
And the community has embraced you so much. I mean, now it's like, who doesn't know you?
Which is kind of bizarre. Moving here right in the middle of COVID, I didn't know anybody except my sister and her life.
Yeah.
But, you know, and now it is different.
It is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's also a great example, Lisa, because Lisa is probably one of the better known humans in our community as well. That if you go out in this community, we want to embrace people. We want people to step to the fore and say, here I am, Colorado Springs,
Exactly.
and I have something to add to our culture in this space here, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And you've done that well, so
Thank you. That is quite a compliment.
Indeed. You know, I have that. You may not know this, Tracy, right?
Yes.
I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, I came here as a homeless guy myself. I began my trek in Colorado Springs 40 years ago this year.
Wow.
And someone helped me. I used to sleep in Acacia Park downtown.
Yeah.
And that was my entry point back into Colorado Springs. Food trucks for homelessness, right?
Food trucks against homelessness.
Against homelessness,
Yeah.
not for them, but against
not for it.
homelessness.
I mess it up too. Like, whoa, that's not what we're doing.
Yeah, we are here promoting homelessness, and we'll bring you a truck to prove it, right?
Tracy, how did you start it? Like, what happened? What was your journey to get there?
That was my next question before you took over.
Yeah, well, on the heels of COVID, my wife and I actually wanted to support the small business community first. That was our intention, was to get a food truck to serve our houseless neighbors at Westside Care. So I partnered with Westside Carers. Anyways, and we did it, and then somebody had suggested from one of the food trucks that we continue doing this, and Food Trucks Against Homelessness was born, just like that. So, and we continue to do it because it's a necessary thing. So, yeah, that's how it started.
Yes.
But tell what else you do, because I know you do a little bit more than just bring your food truck.
Oh, yes. We don't just, I recruit food trucks. So food trucks is what we need and money, obviously. But we also hand out needed items. So we hand out needed items such as socks, new underwear. We get clothing donations sometimes, toiletries, literally whatever we can get that is a good resource for them. We get it, and then my volunteers and I hand those out while we're there with the food truck. And if we don't get a food truck, then we actually go to La Casita and pick up burritos from La Casita. We do ramen Mondays too, which is not my favorite, but that's just due to funding.
Yeah.
So, you know, it all depends on how much money's in the kitty, which is usually not a lot of money at any given time. So.
That never happens, does it?
No. I'm just a little baby in the nonprofit world.
Yeah, so I want to circle back to her as we come back because it's so intriguing to me. I go to church at Sanctuary over on the west side, so there's a lot of shout out Sanctuary.
Yeah.
You don't have to pay me for that. But we serve a lot of homeless people there, so I want to talk about partnerships, other things that are in that realm as we come back to you.
Yeah.
I want to point to my immediate right here. Chloe, tell us a little bit about what you got going.
Yeah, I mean, I'll start a little bit about who I am, how I got to Colorado Springs. I think it's a little bit unique. I think we all can kind of share in the same space because Colorado's filled with a lot of transplants, is what we say. I grew up in Minnesota. I'm a daughter of three, so I have three sisters, including some step family in there. So big family. The Major League Baseball Players Alumni Association. So it's a nonprofit sector of the Alumni Association. I traveled around the U.S. and put on free baseball clinics for kids. First job out of college, it was incredible. Giving back on a mission to make baseball accessible to a lot of communities was super awesome. I love that job. And then I transferred over into my current position, working in entertainment and more music-based corporation. And now I'm giving back in different ways. So being a young professional in the Colorado Springs area, I gotta give a shout out to my girl Sherry. I'm serious. Like we met and going to local places, but then we kind of bonded over going to church together. So it's been a really special time sharing my life. So.
Feeling the love.
Yeah, she's very inspiring. As a young professional, it's kind of challenging when you're here alone. So.
Exactly. Yeah.
I love you.
Get this on film.
Oh my goodness.
Right, yeah.
I don't know, we're about 10 minutes in.
I love it. Yeah, so being just open and transparent and vulnerable, thank you. And Sherry, thank you for pouring into her and creating this space this morning.
She gives as much
Yeah.
as she gets, so it's a, yeah, she's encouraged me too. So.
Oh, man, that's true. Well, I'm encouraged. What about you?
Feel the vibes. We're trying to
I'm feeling those vibes.
Feeling the
here.
vibes, right? Yeah, the amazing Erica Wald, her and I go way back now. Yeah, way back. Carving out space in the springs and challenges of life and et cetera. Tell us a little bit about you.
I'm also from Minnesota and a transplant.
Oh,
so
wow.
I share that as well.
There's a lot of Midwest people.
There's a lot
Yes.
of Midwest people here.
Is our theme.
It might be a theme. I came to Colorado Springs. It's going to be 5 years this year for me. And when I came here, it was really about rebuilding a community, and this place really gave it back to me tenfold. When I came to share here, though, today was about an organization that I found and have been working with human trafficked kids. And the reason that that was near and dear to me, and it's what connected Sherry and I, was this passion about helping give empowerment to kids so they can have a future and know that their future is bright and they have hope. And I found out about that about 6-7 years ago. It was a mission or a travel with a purpose. So you would go out on vacation and then you'd go work with a humanitarian group. And I ended up in Costa Rica last year and ended up working at an organization that's trying to open their doors so that they can help heal 100 girls.
Wonderful.
And I'm here to help support them.
Tell us more. I mean, because something can get lost in translation.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that everyone understands healing 100 girls from what?
From trafficking.
Okay.
So they're being trafficked, and it doesn't have to be in Costa Rica. It's that they're caught in that industry, whether it's their family selling them or they've been taken by somebody, and Saving Hearts Together, when they open their doors, can bring these girls in, and they'll give them therapy, they'll give them education, they'll help them get on their feet so that they can have a future and get out of that realm of being trafficked.
So is it real, is that something that happens pretty consistently in Costa Rica? Why is that particular area something that you're passionate about?
That's a great question, Franny. Thank you for asking that. When I went there naively, thinking it was a Costa Rica issue. It isn't a Costa Rica issue, it's a worldwide issue.
Yes.
And it happens even here in Colorado
It
Springs.
does.
So why am I giving back to an organization that's in a different country? What I learned this year as I've been getting closer to this organization is 30% of the income in Costa Rica is from trafficking. 30% of their economics is from trafficking. So the government doesn't have an incentive to fix that, and 80% of that comes from U.S. tourism.
What?
Which means that we in the U.S. own helping to fix that, in my opinion, and that's why I'm going to continue to be involved, continue to support them, and continue to advocate for them. And she's not only building this place for rescue in Costa Rica, anybody's welcome. And part of her pilot program, she even took in a girl that was being trafficked out of Miami in the Florida area. So it's about having a space and a safe space for them to grow and heal.
Let me rephrase that. I want to make sure the enormity of what you're saying is going out, right? What I heard is 30% GNP, or gross national product, is brought to a country through illegal sources of trafficking.
It's not illegal there.
It's not illegal there, okay. It's through trafficking, which is another conversation altogether if it's not illegal.
Correct.
And then 80% of that prostitution and trafficking is funded by Americans.
Correct.
How is it funded by Americans, do you know? Or
Tourism.
Tourists.
Our tourists go
Yeah.
down there and they purchase the girls.
Oh my gosh. Horrible.
Yes. And so when Sherry saw me on my mission, that's how we connected, because we have a big heart and we want to help these girls and help fund this project to make this a reality that they have a place to go to and heal.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Wow.
So is there a wait list, or like how does that work? How do they get in?
They're not open yet. So right now the biggest need is to fund the project. They're building the dormitories and they have one done and one in progress. And then they're working on staffing and getting that vetted out, and they'll have that done by the end of this year. And then it'll be funding to open the doors. And then it will be There's other organizations, so human trafficking has a lot of aspects to it, and there's other organizations that do find the girls that are in these situations and can bring them to this organization. And then, yes, there would be wait list and application process and all those things to it.
Wow.
I brought a lot to the table. It's an important topic.
It
It
is
is an
important,
important
yes.
topic. It is. Yeah, the enormity of those statistics that you just gave to us to me is otherworldly. It's mind-boggling, and it's horrifying to me that our country lends that big. I mean, it really supplements that industry that big in that one country,
Yeah.
or any
Absolutely.
country.
Any
for that
country.
matter. But anyway, that's enough. I got 3 daughters, so I really it's home for me. You know that.
Yeah.
Hey,
3
listen,
daughters.
I have 3 daughters. That's right. Yes. Yeah, 3 daughters and 1 son, and
Yeah.
13 grandchildren.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a lot of carrying going on.
Yeah, it's a lot of babies. You know what I mean? So yeah. So I want to drill down a little bit.
This is going to be.
It's close to the heart. I think,
It is
of
very
everyone,
close
so,
to the heart.
Yeah. And once again, it just shows, man, the depth of human depravity. And and I won't go down that road because I don't want it to become a spiritual thing, and some people may push back from that. But if we think that we're all good, I think these statistics kind of tell us otherwise, right? If we think that humanity is just good by nature. But anyway, what is good is food trucks that you bring together, because we really want to push this forward today.
So when you say
I'd like.
So when you say food trucks, what do you mean? Like, are you expecting? Because I know a lot of food truck owners too, but are you expecting them to step up, provide free food? What does that look like? Or do you have the Karen Shares of the world giving you food, and then the food truck can cook the food, or what's the vision with that with food trucks?
So I recruit food trucks, obviously, to serve on Mondays. That's when we serve. We will provide, the money for the cost of. That's it. Yeah. Kind of thing. Anyways, yeah. So we will pay them back, but a lot of them actually end up. It's really cool because a lot of them do end up just saying, "Hey, just pay me $100," or "I'll just do it all." But at least going into it, I let them know that we will reimburse them. But we need their time. But the thing is that the hard thing with food trucks, because it's not their day off, because they're prepping for the rest of the week.
Right.
And the difficulty in doing that. Now, we have had restaurants that have stepped up, obviously. Yes, I use 8th Street.
Okay.
That's so funny. Yep, I use 8th Street. Because obviously we serve West Side Cares.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that's
Yeah.
on my way to when I go to West Side Cares. But they will make burritos for us. Like I said, we do ramen on the other days. The thing with getting a restaurant involved is it has to be done in a commercial kitchen, which technically they are a commercial kitchen.
Yes.
But then I gotta find somebody to serve that. I can't just go set up my table and be able to serve that in a manner that it has to be served to protect our houseless residents from getting sick. So, but I have had food trucks that I have partnered with in the past that they'll do that for me when I have had restaurants step up and offer, to give an item, or food, whatever. So, but yeah.
Yeah.
Did
So
that
how
answer
long
your
have you
question?
guys been operating now?
So we started early 21.
2021, right after the big COVID thing.
Uh-huh.
And once again, I don't know. I think you asked this question. Maybe she did. If I'm redundant, forgive
That's
me.
okay.
But what's the heart behind this? What was it when someone said, "Wow, homeless people! Here's a great opportunity to feed those without an address, to get an opportunity to go into this population of Colorado Springs?
I'm gonna answer that, but I'm gonna bounce off of the address thing, because Westside Cares holds an address for our houseless neighbors, which is so very important, and that's why they're so valuable. And with serving on Mondays, we get 80 to 100 people no matter what. So that benefits the food. It's fruitful for the food truck and for the houseless neighbor, our houseless neighbors. I just believe that as a human, I was put on this earth to help other humans, and that's where this comes from. It's in my heart. If we don't help each other, then we will kill the human race. At least that's what I believe. So that's why I do
Well,
it.
it's proven itself out, isn't it?
Yeah, and it just happened that, what do you do during COVID when you're at home and stuck? And we were like, we got to do something. I cleaned all my pantries, I cleaned all my closets, and my house was sparkling. So I'm like, now what do I do next? And it just came up, and we did it.
Wow. Yeah. That's Colorado Springs, Lisa.
Yes,
Right?
exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I
ain't no
love this
problem.
town.
Me too. People are looking for ways to give back. What say you on the give back part? We've heard your heart. What are you doing as far as giving back in community?
Yeah, so I mean, it's a little challenging if you look at it in any sense, but especially when you're young, it's challenging because there's so many ways to give, right? You can give monetarily, you can give through resources, but a lot of people, the best way to give when you're young is time and expertise, right? So that's how I give. I'm a passionate storyteller, as you mentioned. So I like to amplify people's stories through creating content that really amplifies anyone's, story, really. So that could be through, their different platforms, or I also have an expertise in events. I've done events for a long time now. I've worked with a handful, I can't even count on my fingers how many people I've supported through different marketing and PR and content creation platforms to help amplify their events. That could be galas, fundraisers, concerts, and such. Some of the biggest ones being Salvation Army, Mount Carmel Veterans Center, Folds of Honor, and I kind of just help them support whatever the minute vision they have is for that event, and I'll support them any way they can. So
That's awesome.
yes, I'm really proud of them.
Yeah, you keep rolling back to this young person in space here today.
I'm surrounded by young people, so I feel like
Is that what you are?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. So you don't know our old space.
I guess not.
Is that what you're trying to
You gotta teach me how to work.
How to work an old people thing. Every time I roll over there, I'm feeling left out. So
I'm just trying to figure out what you're giving me, so.
I amplify the young. Later for the old. Amelia was cheering in the background.
Yes,
when
she
she
was, with the
was talking
events
about
planning.
events and those types of things as well.
Oh yeah, we have to connect.
Yeah. Indeed. Yeah, Sherry Porter.
Yes, sir.
We see, I've had some conversations, so this question isn't really fair for me. I kind of understand your heart to some degree. I say that with a caveat because how do you understand a woman's heart? But
Very deep. Yes. Good luck. Very good.
Michelle, if you're listening, I got you, baby.
She knows.
She knows.
You got her name right.
Michelle, I hope you're not listening. But
She probably is today. I gave her so much rash at the hospital. I'm not listening to our shows.
you were jamming her up, weren't you? But circling back, sure, I know that we know that you're in mortgage lending.
Correct.
And we want to make space for you to tell people how to reach you doing this show as well in that space. But why does all this other stuff matter to you? Why do you care about these humans?
Okay, so I'm gonna try to get through this without crying. Good luck.
I know, broad strokes.
I've been through a lot of adversity in my life, and I've had people uphold me and help me through, especially like my sister and her wife and Chloe have been there for me. And I am super passionate about lifting other women up, especially women who have been through adversity themselves. And I just want to be, I'm gonna quote a song. Just want to be the wind beneath their wings. You know, I want to help women soar.
I love that.
Yeah, and giving them encouragement and support in any way that I possibly can is my goal. So I have this big vision that I eventually would like to purchase a large apartment building, providing housing that's affordable to women and their children, but not only creating that space, but having a support team of counselors and lawyers and financial people that can help educate them and support them and get them back on their feet, because I've had the privilege of having that,
Yes.
and I would love to give that back.
Wow. Yes, indeed. You know, isn't that wonderful? It is. There's only one thing that really creates purpose, and it's pain.
Yeah.
Pain creates
Absolutely.
purpose. It really does. We see it over and over and over in life. And if you endure enough pain, then big purposes are what comes forth out of that. And it's really, really cool. The pain part, when you go into it, is not so cool. But if you leverage it, it becomes so cool in life. It does. And this is why Lisa and I we try to bring in people, man, let's break down the human wall. It's not, the only thing we are as humans, and we bite a lot of the time. And a lot of the time, we just muck this up, right? Notice I used that
Yes, you
without
did
the,
good.
yeah.
PG, we're good.
It's just humanity. It's no bigger than that. It really isn't. And the very thing that we should coalesce around is the fact that we're jacked up. Yes?
And own it.
And own it.
Yeah.
Right? And this is what Lisa and I are trying to create a platform for jacked up, what our church called ragamuffins, but jacked up human beings that know we're jacked up. So let's live that jacked upness together.
Yeah.
Let's have grace for each other's jacked upness. And let's create space so that we can walk and lift up the rest of the jacked up population together. That's what this is about.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Right? So, with that being said, Erica, tell us some jacked upness about you.
He didn't give you that one. What an opening,
That
right?
is an opening. He just threw me off. Yeah. My balance. It's okay. I have different experiences, and I think the one that was most impactful for me was that I didn't know my own self-worth when I was younger. And because of that, I let people take advantage of me and abuse me, and I stayed in a relationship for a very long time that I now look back at that was very mentally abusive. And when I got out of that, I found my wings. And I was connected to other people around me that were doing big things. And I don't ever want anybody to feel that way. I look at the loneliness that people have, whether they're in a relationship or not,
Yes.
the depression, the abuse that goes on, whether it's physical or mental. And if I can help one person find their value, then I've done my job in this world.
Well said, yes.
Very well said. You know, and we'll hope with you. Well, I can't ask for your permission and then tell the story, right? Can I say anything?
You can say anything,
Okay,
Franklin.
all right,
I trust
yeah,
you.
She said anything, but then she
Anything.
trusts you,
Yeah,
so.
she trusts me. Indeed. Yeah, because when you came to town, I don't know, how did we meet? Someone introduced us.
Emily.
Emily introduced us, and that's when you were going through that.
I
right?
was starting to go through that.
Starting to go through that, and not a pat on the back, but I've had some great opportunity to engage in that process that you were going through. So thank you, first of all, for trusting me in that place,
Yes,
and giving me permission to speak into what you guys were going through at the time. How long were you married?
17 years.
17 years, and this is not putting down her ex-husband
No,
or anything.
right.
We all come from places and do things because we do. Yeah, that's what we know, right? We do what we
Trauma.
know, right? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So no knock on him or knock on anybody in this, but the change in Erica has been dramatic. I mean, it has been absolutely
You're gonna
dramatic.
make me cry.
Yeah, it's been so true, and it's been such a blessing to be able to see that. So thank you for showing up.
Thank you for being there for me.
You
Frank
bet.
was my support system. I don't have custody of my kids anymore.
You don't? Okay. All righty.
Yeah.
All righty.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Love you.
Love you too.
Right.
It's all part of our process, right?
it is.
Everybody has a story and something they're going through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's like all the time, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Boy, I could be here for days talking about how jacked up I am. Notice I didn't say was, am.
Yeah, we all
Right,
I mean,
present tense.
Yeah.
I think we all are. I just want to thank you though for being open about that, because I think us as women and moms and ex-wives, if you've been through that horrible journey of a divorce, which would bring you to that level to get divorced, and there's always a backstory, and no one really knows what happens behind closed doors.
Yes.
And the pain that happens there, and the joys and everything, right? But
Yeah.
we always hope that families and behind closed doors are healthy, and but if they're not, to reach out for help and what they can do about it, and that it's not okay to live under a rock. And
Yes.
yeah, I can relate to you. So
And I feel that it's not for us to judge anybody's situation, and that's one thing that I learned
Exactly.
is that I was ashamed of what I was going through because on the paper I looked successful,
Mhm.
and I was successful on paper, and then you look at my backstory, my relationships, and they were not.
Yeah.
And that came with a lot of judgment on myself.
Mhm.
And so I always look at it and I go, people don't know what's happening behind those closed doors, like you said, and that's really important to understand.
yes,
And just go to people with love and open arms and listen to their story and lift them up.
That's one of the things that I love about all three of these women sitting here is that they all have the capacity to hold space for other people and let them be seen
yeah.
Mm.
and heard and loved. And that, so I love you guys. Just want you to know that.
Oh.
And I'm very honored to be in your lives.
You need to have tissue.
Usually we can't stop people from laughing, but it's kind of deep
Not
this
today.
hour.
We're still laughing. We're still laughing.
I'm gonna like a therapy appointment after.
Amelia, do you have your event planning kit, like with tissues and everything in it?
No, I thought we would be laughing today too.
I know.
We are.
Wrong one.
It's a good one.
You guys are gonna get something right too.
We're laughing as well.
Yes.
All right. But I think humanity needs this. It's just, I'm so taken back by our shame space. You know, when you're living in shame, you aren't helping anyone. You're not moving yourself forward. And most of it's manufactured because it's the stories you're telling yourself.
Right.
Yes.
Right? About yourself.
Yes.
Where it's not no one around you saying this stuff, but you're saying it to yourself.
Right.
Right? Tell us a little bit about that.
About the cassette plate tape in my head.
Yeah. that space.
How much time do we have?
We'll cut you off if you go too long.
You would be cutting me off. You want to know about you really want to know about what my head tells me?
Yes.
And the jacked upness?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Like, be real about it.
Be real about
I
it.
really want to know.
This is PG rated, I thought.
Yeah.
Keep it PG.
Yeah. Well, I have tapes too, and I'm always constantly trying to, tell my tapes to tell me something else. I mean, they tell me a lot of stuff. I've had a lot of personal experiences that haven't been so user friendly. So I was in an extremely abusive relationship for a long time with my daughter's father, and
How long were you in that relationship?
That was only like 2-3 years. So long ago. You're talking like I got out of that in 90.
In the 90s? Oh.
Yeah, 93 is when I moved here, and I think it was 2 years pretty much after that, and I knew him like a year before that. I don't keep track of time. I'm really bad at that.
That's
like
okay.
people are like, how long did you volunteer there? I'm like, I don't know. You just volunteer forever. Right? That's our job.
Exactly.
So I would say like in probably 95, 96 is when I finally literally was able to change the locks on my door and feel safe again.
Oh.
Yeah. And it took me a long time to change the locks on my door to feel safe again, because if I change the locks on my door, then something could happen also, So yeah, and that for me has been my largest trauma, but my biggest gift also, because I now today can hold space for other people who go through situations as mine. I do believe in my heart of hearts that we all have different situations, but our feelings around those situations are 99.9% the exact same feeling, right? Pain, sadness, whatever, that may be. So we can relate to anybody really on that emotional level. We don't have to have, the same story. But my tapes are not always the best tapes, but I'm always constantly working on my tapes, and I know I'll be doing that till I'm 6 feet under. So I just embrace the opportunity of I'm working, right? Like I literally was working on tapes in my head while sitting here. So it's a constant project.
Yeah.
It is a constant project. It
Yeah.
is.
Especially with the cassette tapes, you really have to rewind it.
I know.
Yep.
Play and
Pencil
record.
or the pencil thing if you don't have.
Exactly. Sharpen it. Yes.
Yeah.
Did you say cassette tapes?
The
Yeah.
cassette tapes.
Cassette tapes.
She's got tapes.
Yeah, cassette tapes. Old cassette tapes.
Oh,
Do
okay.
people know what
I got
that is?
8 tracks. I know, right?
Do you still have 8
That's
tracks?
how old I am.
Do you
right?
have them at the house?
Oh,
You have
no,
8
I
tracks?
don't
Oh,
have
okay.
them.
I got rid of mine. I wish I did, though.
Me too. We have
At some
them.
point, it might have been worth something.
Yes, they would have been.
Oh,
Mine
wow.
would have been. I had the whole Madonna collection.
Oh,
I'm going to
good
see
shit.
Madonna.
Are you serious? Well, I liked her back in the
It's my
80s.
bucket
She's
list.
okay now.
Yeah, so you're remarried.
Yes.
Yeah, how long have you been married? Remarried.
I have been married to my wife. Well, I mean, I haven't been married to my wife for 22 years because marriage has not been, we haven't had marriage equality in this world. So,
Right,
but
right.
we've been together for 22 years. 22 years.
years.
June 14th will be 22.
Congratulations. Wow, that's a
Yeah.
long time.
Yep. To be in relation.
Chris, I wish you were at the same thing. Oh my
I
God.
wish we got it. That would be a perfect
Hopefully her wife is not.
I said it to her face. If I was in relation with Chloe, it's still hard.
Doesn't matter what.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. As a matter of fact,
Yeah.
right?
That's true.
I'm just being honest.
No,
they
that's
really
it.
are because it is hard work having relationships.
Yes.
I like
Right.
to say it's harder than we want it to be,
Yeah.
Well,
because
It shouldn't be this hard.
it's ownership on both sides of it, right?
Yeah.
Relationships.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I think that's the bulk of the work. Is I have to
Well,
do
I don't know
mine.
if
I have
it-
to do mine first.
I don't know if it shouldn't be that hard because I believe that's the growth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
are growth points,
Yeah.
right? That's the reason. So I think a lot of relationships don't make it is because they're not willing to grow.
The growth is the
The
biggest
humans aren't willing
Yeah.
to grow.
Yeah.
To
Right?
stretch yourself.
Yeah.
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 And some, don't get me wrong, obviously some we need to exit from, right?
Right.
Right,
Right.
right,
Yeah.
because it's just
Yes.
not
Yeah.
healthy for you,
Right.
Yeah.
right? So I wrote this article a few years ago, and I know there's probably pet lovers around the table here. So,
Yes.
and my
Yes.
wife is one too. I mean,
Yes.
but if you see a parallel, on earth, and I'm in my 60s now, and I've seen this continue to grow, is that the more people's human relationships suffer, the more people migrate to animal relationships. Start attributing human qualities to animals and et cetera, and that means there's a lack of growth in human relationships, and people aren't willing to face them.
Wow.
And I had so
That's
much.
true.
It is true. Absolutely.
No, even at the store yesterday, I was at Target and they had this, all these Mother's Day cards out, right?
Mhm.
And they had mom fur baby,
Yeah.
happy mom fur baby cards or whatever. And I was like, oh wow, okay, we're there now.
We are there now.
It's like,
that's
oh,
for sure.
Yeah.
Unconditional love is animals.
But because they do that
Makes sense.
instinctively,
Yes,
Yeah.
they do.
right? And no
Yes.
growth comes from that
Nope.
because that's an anticipated reaction to what you stimulate in the animal, right?
Yeah, and they don't
That's why
challenge you.
they
with
don't
words.
challenge you,
Yeah.
right? That's why. Then you're going to nullify your opportunity to grow to your optimal potential. You will. I'm not saying stop loving your animals. Love the heck out
Yes.
of them. But don't let it become a substitute for the challenge of human relationships.
I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
That's so good. I love that.
Thank you, Lisa.
Chewing on it.
Huh?
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I think it's the same even with humans when we're around other humans, or people, whatever you want to call it. It's that you either go around those that help you grow or you don't.
You don't.
And you can still have the ones that don't help you grow in your life in a different view, right?
Yes.
It's a different relationship.
Yes, it
and
is.
you keep those ones close to you.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And you have to be intentional about that as
Yes.
well, because you're going to attract what you are,
Exactly.
not what you
Yes.
want to be.
Exactly.
Right.
You're going to attract what you are, and if you're attracting negative humans in your life, people that are causing angst and
Yeah.
concerns and problems, don't look any further than the mirror, because that's what you're attracting. And what do you have inside of you that's creating those types of spaces that people are feeling comfortable being around you in those type ways?
I was
Yes.
at a social experiment this weekend where we did that. We had 300 people in a room paired up, and everybody went to who they attract and who they are.
Yeah.
It's a mirror reflection.
Yeah.
Mine was an exact copy of me in a male form.
Really?
Yes.
Oh man, I hope I don't attract them when I'm in any form. That's why my wife is the total opposite, right? Total opposite. It's so good for me.
Yes.
It
Yes,
really
it
is.
is.
Yeah.
Well, I think as humans too, we always pick the path of least resistance,
Ah,
right? So that's
say it.
downhill. That's not uphill.
Yep.
yes.
You know, so but the path uphill leads to so much more reward and a better viewpoint. You know,
Yeah.
The
so
path
Exactly.
uphill usually goes downhill eventually.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. She built a home instead.
I'm happy you said that because I don't
Yeah.
know, Sherry, we've known each other for how many years now, but I'm kind of the devil's advocate. I have been, and my friends for a very long time. I'm in the workplace. I mean, whatever conversation I'm in, I'm always devil's advocate. So when you say that, like, woo, you know, we attract people who are the same, but I also think it's like expectations wise. Like as a friend, I have an expectation, and is it mutually respected? Because, you know, work life and kids and families, like that is an expectation that needs to be taken care of based on the values of that human. So if you're making good friendships with that person or colleague or whatever it may be, I think expectations are huge in that.
Yeah.
I'm also known as a friend as like, we'll reach out every once in a while, we're best friends, we connect again. Like that is just who I am, and my friends expect that. So I don't know if it's, I don't know. I see some expectations that it should be on the table front and center first.
I think that's yes and though.
Mm-hmm.
So neither one of us are wrong in that, because you're going to have courage. Expectations means you are exercising bravery and courage. And that's one thing that humans don't do very well.
Right.
So they'll put expectations on the table and then allow those to not be honored and continue on in those relationships as though it's still okay.
Correct, without having the conversation.
Without even having a conversation.
Comes
It
back to
happens
the conversation.
all the
Happens all the
time
time.
because it feels like confrontation
Correct.
and it feels uncomfortable,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it doesn't mean because you put expectations on the table that people are going to honor them. Particularly, they're going to test your expectations.
Yes, they will.
And it's up to you to make the judgment of how you feel about that.
And it's
Exactly
up
right.
to you to honor your expectations.
Which I'm
Exactly.
not historically great at, but.
I knew we were going to circle over to
She communicates that a lot of people don't. So
I'll literally tell a story. It was very, very recently. I was in a space where I had to make a huge decision, a couple different decisions in my life. It was respecting my own personal boundaries, but I had not allowed myself to also step forward in those boundaries. And I sat with Sherry at her kitchen table, and I was like, what do I do? She's like, Chloe, you don't respect your own boundaries. Like, you can go and you take this step, but either way, you have to either, like, she kind of, she's such a hype girl, first off. Like, biggest cheerleader in the room right there. Sorry, my millennial brain. I am a millennial. I can proudly say I'm a millennial.
All three of my kids are.
I
So
know
that's
you're
okay.
a
That's
millennial.
okay.
I know you're hated, and I
Yeah.
think that's.
I'm
Yeah.
obsolete. I think I'm one of the outliers of the
Right.
situation. Anyways, so I don't know. I was sitting at the table and Sherry was kind of being the biggest cheerleader she is, the wonderful woman she is, and she was saying, like, these are your best qualities, and this is where I see you thrive, and this is where I see you get excited every day, and it seems like you're stepping away from that. So why wouldn't you step back in, but also respect your boundaries? There was a distance between my boundary and what I also loved. So it was a great conversation, and I ended up making the right decision, and I'm very happy. So every day of my life, thank you.
Go, Sherry.
Yeah. Get it.
Go, Sherry.
Make it
Not your
happen.
birthday, but do it anyway. Right?
And when you're drowning in sad, come back and we'll talk again.
Talk about you. Talk about her being a hype person.
Yes, yes.
You hyped her to the maximum in here today.
She deserves it.
Deserve it.
Yeah, we talked about this coaching space, haven't we?
We did.
Yes.
Right.
Many times.
Okay. All righty. Don't make me circle back on you.
Oh, you will, whether.
I specifically remember actually talking about that coaching space in that conversation as well. So it's
I
not.
think you did mention that.
I did.
It comes organically for her. She has a heart.
It was a manifestation or something.
It was. What great conversation. I think, Lisa, what we're pulling out of our collectiveness today is people with some tremendous hearts that are looking for ways to impact humanity in such an awesome and positive way.
Yep, exactly. I mean, you all do. You wake up each morning and you have a purpose to give back, which is huge because most people don't wake up to do that. They wake up to feel better, get their coffee, try to get through on Monday, but you guys have a purpose, and that give back is so great.
Yeah, one of the worst things that any human can do is focus on themselves, right? And if you don't have something outside of you to focus on, it's a bad day because you've been with you every day, every year, your entire life, and there's a lot to fall back on that's negative.
Yeah.
And your mind doesn't go, you know what, Chloe, you're so awesome, you're so incredible, go show up like that today. Your mind goes, you suck.
Yeah.
You know?
Those are little lights of moment. Like sometimes I'm driving, I'm like, wow, I'm so cool.
Do you?
I've done that before.
That's
I have.
awesome.
I have. You should try it on your way out.
Self-talk.
Yeah,
That's
it's
good.
like wow, like I'm really cool,
We
and
should talk to
I don't care who
ourselves
knows
that
it.
way.
Yes.
Yeah, we have something to contribute.
Yeah.
We
right?
do. Everybody does.
Talk about having a bad day. So one day, Amelia, since she's in the room, I'll just put her on the spot.
Here we go.
She was having a rough day, and I said, if you're not busy, come with me. And that was when I dragged her over to the Sanctuary Church, and we were taking care of the big homeless event that we were doing, and she was beaming the whole time. I mean, your whole demeanor was shining, and you were lifted up spiritually. I could see it. Like you were like pumped up because you were giving back to our locals.
It was exactly what I needed that day.
Yeah, and that it's so perfect. But that is really, it's the give back. It's all about the give back, and not. She could have stayed home and wallowed and been bored and whatever. But you didn't. You decided, you know what? I am going to get out there. I'm going to get up, get out, and I'm going to do this thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's when we give back, when we're in bad spaces, that helps. I just had a health scare, and on a Monday, I was going through my health scare, and I literally got ready to walk out the door to go to serve our houseless neighbors, and my wife is like, you need to get back in bed. And I'm like, no, I don't. I'll crawl there if I have to, you know? So, yeah, it gets us out of that bad headspace.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we
It's a
could give you
gift.
some advice, I mean, anyone out listening to us at 719-300-7936, as I mentioned the number at the end of the show.
You might want to say it a little slower.
719-300-7936. That's cool enough? Right.
I didn't catch it. I can't call you.
Yeah, so giving back to community. I tell even my clients, I say, if you ever in a funk, go out and serve somebody.
Yeah.
Go find a way to serve somebody. There's no way that you can be in a funk and serve at the same time.
Nope.
It's impossible to do.
Yeah.
It really is. Go find a way to serve another human being. At the end of the day, people talk about their missions and their values and their visions and all of these spaces in life. But at the end of the day, we all have the same mission, to serve other humans.
That's right.
And when that ceases to be a mission, you miss the whole point. You miss the point. You know what? I want you to tell people how to reach you and how they can help you.
Oh, yeah. FoodTrucksAgainstHomelessness.com. Facebook. I have 2 Facebook pages. I think I'm not technologically, I don't do that well. My brother helps me with that. I think it's a group page and a private page, but you can find them all and friend that. Yeah, and then if you want to do any kind of donating, we are on PayPal, we are on Cash App and Venmo, and I'm sure that's pretty easy to find since this is a verbal and not a visual.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think those are the best ways. Yeah, and we're having, actually I'm doing one of my first big fundraiser. I'm doing on May 27th. I'm partnering with Dutch Heritage Gardens in Larkspur and my real estate friend Dory Lundgren. So I'm super excited because this is this is huge. I'm so stoked. I'm really stoked about it. Yeah. It'll be a good thing, and we're hoping to do it every year.
Yeah, if you have online ways to send out so that we can push that out for you, we'll do it here on the station. Lisa and I do it on our own personal pages and business pages as well, because that's how the social media thing works, is that we share each other's stuff, right? If there's a food truck or someone else that says, wow, I resonate with what Tracy's doing, is there a contact way that they can contact you, Tracy?
Yeah, you can contact me through our website, foodtrucksagainsthomelessness.com, and then you can also call me at 719-888-9155 or foodtrucksagainsthomelessness@gmail.com.
At Gmail. Indeed. Do that. Reach out to Food Trucks Against Homelessness, Tracy Porter.
Yes.
Right? I was wondering how you guys' name, I know you're 29 at least, right?
Right.
Because you told me you were here in the 90s.
Well, I'm 29, she's 27.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, wait, no, I did the math wrong.
Yeah.
29, 25.
Right.
For 4 years
baby
apart.
sister.
Yeah.
Apart from my sister too.
Right. Is there any contact information, anything that you'd like to give out?
Yeah, I can plug an event that's coming up that is for nonprofit on one of our campuses. So I'm Chloe Heft. You can follow me on LinkedIn if you'd like. Hoeft. Yes, it's very funky. It's a German name.
I like it.
That's where those blue eyes come from.
Yes, I went to Germany. I lived there for 6 months, and it was great. And I went to the doctor's office one time, and they said my name, Chloe Heft, and I was like, what? That's how you say it in German. So anyway, so I actually represent Notes Bar, which is a brand new live music and social bar on the north end of town. We are hosting a nonprofit night on this Thursday, and it is for Angels of America's Fallen. So
Our babes.
and I was like, I think that's gonna resonate here.
Yeah.
So it's 10% of your tab will go back to Angels of America's Fallen at Notes Bar, which is off of Bass Pro. So it's live music.
That's on my to-do list.
Come get some.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we need to go that.
I need the details. Not that I just want to go to Notes, but
Notes is great.
yeah, it's a
Notes
new
is a real
location.
cool spot if you haven't been before. We
You
do
can play
nonprofit nights every
games.
Thursday, and there's music bingo on Wednesday nights.
Yeah.
So you should those are so much fun. I had a blast. But yeah.
All right, thank you. This is Amelia LeVay, and I wanted her to give some contact information and stuff as well. You want to talk?
No.
This is not my show.
I know, just
You're here.
Just give it.
You can contact Amelia LeBay Events at 619-930-7663 or find me on Facebook.
Amelia LeVay Events.
Events.
Thank
yes.
you. Right on.
Love it.
Yes. Sherry,
Hi.
is there any? Hi.
Mason Mac girl.
Yes. I am Sherry with Mason Mac Mortgage. You can contact me on my cell phone, which is 719-313-6747. You can reach me via email with Sherry, and it's SHARI at loans with an S close.com. I am on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. You can find me just about anywhere.
Do we still call you the Lone Ranger?
Yes.
Yeah.
The Lone Ranger of Colorado Springs.
The
love
Lone
Yeah,
Ranger.
me too. It's
I
fun.
love it. That was awesome. Erica.
Yes, I'll give you the contact for Saving Hearts, and then I'll give you mine as well. So please connect with Saving Hearts on the Insta. It's Saving Hearts CR for Costa Rica. On Facebook, it's Saving Hearts. Otherwise, you can go direct to their website, savinghearts.org. And if you'd like to talk to me directly, I am Erica Wald, and you can find me on Facebook. It's Erica with a K. And my phone number, if you want to call me and chat about it, is 612-991-8719.
Great Minnesota in the
Minnesota,
Area code. It is a good Minnesota
I got
area.
3 Minnesotans, 2 Michiganders.
And, North
Yeah.
Carolinian. Sorry.
Our grandparents are from South Carolina, so.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's close.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, ladies, thank you so much for being
Thank
with us
you.
today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Lisa,
Thank you for having us.
make sure that you go out with a bang again. Make sure people know how to reach you.
All right. Again, Lisa Sinnott, thank you everyone for listening in to this awesome show that we just had. You can reach me at innovatesuccess.com for whatever you need done at your home or place of business. I will connect you and help you support local businesses. Thank you.
Indeed. And she just makes sure that the best of the best are available. think of Colorado Springs. There ain't no stopping us now. Right?
Good one.
Mics are hot.
Well, I just heard, what is this reverb thing going on? Right?
Good morning.
Yeah, don't be
or good
reverbing.
afternoon, everyone.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. Hey, welcome, everyone. You're joining us on the Be Encouraged Show with Frank and Lisa on Monday afternoon. This is Motivation Monday.
Yes.
Prayers for our great friend, the great Ron Young, who is home from the hospital now after having kidney transplant surgery, having to go back in and going through some things. And I just had a diagnosis of cancer myself, and I'm back on the air with the great Lisa Sinnott. Now we believe that we're on the way to recovery. So if prayers in your framework, pray for me. Okay, so, and Ron Young as well. I'm the Chief Encouragement Officer for Dream Again Business Consulting, where we bridge the gap between discouragement and hope and help businesses move forward by getting the greatest challenge to their business out of the way, the thing that you look in the mirror at every day. So you can give us a call here at Family Flavors to Slide at 719-300-7936 if you have a question for any of our guests this afternoon. And I needed to talk about, Lisa, Macaroni Kid, which is coming up on May 6th.
Yes.
Find Your Family Fun. It's going to be at UC Health Park here in the Springs between 10 and 3. Give Family Flavors and these guys a call down here. This is a non-profit internet radio show that gives you an opportunity to engage in our community in a different way. So, Lisa Sinnott, that's enough about me. Tell them about you.
Well, first I want to give the phone number to the studio. So it's going to be very interesting, this show. So I want everyone to have the phone number. So get your pens and paper out. And if you have any questions, comments at all for our guest today, you can call us at 719-300-7936. So I am Lisa Sinnott. I am very, very happy to be seated next to Frank Sinclair this morning, who is, yes, he is healthy, on the mend. Keep him in your prayers, and Ron as well. They are two pillars here in the city and my personal mentors, and I just keep them lifted up, please. Thank you. So Lisa Sinnott with Innovate Success. I actually specialize in helping families get connected to support local businesses on their next project, whether it be at home or at work. I'm here to help. I'm all about supporting locals, so look me up on innovatesuccess.com. I'd be happy to help you. Thank you.
And no one can help you better than the great Lisa Sinnott. So you need work done at your home or place of business or anywhere in between, give her a call at innovatesuccess.com. You know, I am stoked about the show today.
Yes,
you know, I
I am
hadn't seen
too.
this woman to my right in quite a while. I thought it was something I said.
I think we ran into each other in an alley last time.
We
Last time
did.
I saw you. A downtown alley.
That's funny. Were you going to 3 E's? Yes.
We were in an alley. We did a video in the
That's right.
alley.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
It's funny that I knew which alley.
That is rather
Yeah.
funny.
Well, it's a small city, right? I mean, yeah, there's not too many
like
alleys.
one alley. Right? Yeah. So anyway, we got a great show today because, in my view, one of the very, I think the next step to Colorado Springs greatness, Lisa, is our creative community, how we engage culturally in this community, and the way that we're able to lift up and create space there. Matter of fact, I'm going to ask you for something before we leave
All
today,
right.
young lady. I'm not too proud to beg, so I just want you to know that, okay? So, Lisa, you once again reached out for our people in our space today. So tell us a little bit about whom you brought.
Okay, so just a little background. Susan, whom I've never met in person. Literally, I saw you in the magazine that was mailed to everyone's homes. I brought it to Frank and I pointed to you and I said, I'm going to have her on this show.
Oh, geez.
And then I'm like, I don't know if she'll give me the time of day, and then luckily she knew you, of course.
Yes.
So you were my ticket in to reel her in. She's like, who are you? How do you have my cell? Yeah. Not many people have
Oh,
her
but you're
cell.
with Frank. Okay.
Yes. She was like, all right, I will now speak to you. No, I'm just kidding. So this is Susan Edmondson, President and CEO of Downtown Partnership, leading an economic resurgence of the city center with more than $2 billion invested in new business, hotels, attractions, and public improvements. And then, of course, Michelle Winchell, manager. Did I say that wrong?
No.
Oh, good. Okay. Manager. I'm always really like trying to get everyone's names right. I know how important that is. Manager of Downtown Creative District and Executive Director of Downtown Ventures, a nonprofit affiliate of the partnership, and Michelle helms creative activities downtown, such as everyone loves the First Friday Art Walks.
Yes.
And the Art on the Streets public art exhibit, which will be celebrating its 25th year this June. I'm sure we're going to hear more on that.
Yes, you will.
And then, of course, Jonathan, is it Toman or Toman?
Nope, you were right the first time.
Toman, okay. Program Manager at the Cultural Office of the Pikes Peak region, superheads the office's flagship cultural promotion program, the Peak Radar events calendar, and other initiatives that shine a spotlight on the arts for residents and visitors.
Yes,
Welcome.
that.
Well, welcome.
Happy to be
everyone.
here.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Indeed. Miss Edmondson, you've been around this place a little bit now, haven't you?
Yeah, you make me sound old, but I guess I am old.
I'm
yeah.
older. I'm older than you. So if that brings any
Okay,
solace.
okay.
Okay. Yeah, you don't have to have been around or be old to be around a while. So
That's true.
yeah, tell us a little bit about you, Susan, and really the great reason that I believe everyone in this city needs to know who you are and what you do.
Oh, well, my goodness. I've had the great privilege to be working with Downtown Partnership for 10 years now. I just
Yeah.
recently celebrated my 10-year anniversary, and I feel like everything in my career was kind of leading up to this point. I was a journalist for many years, and in that role also covered arts and entertainment and arts and culture, which is such an important part of downtown. I also ran a foundation that supports the arts in the Pikes Peak region. And so when this opportunity came up with Downtown Partnership, it kind of blended a lot of things from my past careers. And well, certainly Michelle will talk more about kind of our arts and cultural components, but really with Downtown Partnership, we are a placemaking organization. So we are focused on really just 1 square mile of the city in a city of 200 square miles,
Yes.
right? But within that, we do a little bit of everything, right? So as we mentioned, arts and culture, but economic development, business attraction, retention, marketing for our small businesses, initiatives around being clean and safe, and things like planting flowers in the flower beds, and working for both the big catalytic projects that have come about in the past several years, but a lot of support to our small businesses as well, and a lot of focus on the public spaces. How do people get around? How do people connect within our downtown, which I think we've all seen has gone through a lot of change the past handful of years. And Lisa mentioned we're experiencing over $2.3 billion in recent investment into downtown in terms of new construction, new businesses, all sorts of activities either recently completed or those things in our near-term pipeline. So we're kind of there for whatever part of that it may be, which is why I love my job. It's something different every day.
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a 2.3 billion. Lisa.
Yes. I wish I had money like that to play with. But they say the Lord gives you what you can handle,
That's
and then He'll
right.
bring it on later. So let's just hang tight.
I hope I'm alive when you get there.
We'll get there, Frank.
Michelle, that's
Yes.
my wife's name
Yes.
as well. So
Oh, wow.
is it 2 L's?
It is 2 L's and an E.
Exactly.
That's
perfect
it.
spelling.
It is the only
Only
spelling.
Everything else is fake.
Yes.
Right?
That's why I'm with Lisa too. When people are like, how do you spell Lisa? I'm like, are you serious? It's classic. It's like Lisa.
Yeah, give us a little bit of background, Michelle, on you. You know, I'm looking at you right now, and I hope this strikes you positively because it is a positive comment. You look your part.
Oh, I look like a creative district
Yes,
manager.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's good to look your part, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so give us a little backstory about who Michelle is and how that led up to what you're doing today.
Yeah, so similarly to what Susan said, I think a lot of my previous work experience and kind of in education have led up to a job that I absolutely love and has been a really great fit for me. So I actually grew up in Colorado Springs.
Ah!
And
Wait a minute, I need an autograph. Where's my book?
And love our community. Grew up like many Colorado kids. My dad took me on backpacking trips starting when I was about 5, so lots of outdoor time and time in the mountains. And then I went to school in Wyoming for undergrad and then Indiana University for my MFA.
Why?
Why? Why? Well, at the time, UCCS did not have my degree program.
Oh, okay.
And so that was not even an option. And then it was sort of what's within driving distance. And my dad had gone to Wyoming, so there was we got an alumni discount. It's always a nice thing. And it was fun to be in a small town after having grown up in a city and a little bit of a change. And I think sometimes when you put yourself in a different context, you learn something about who you are. In Indiana, I learned that I'm a Westerner. I had never thought of myself necessarily as a Westerner until I was in the Midwest.
It doesn't take long in Indiana.
You needed to get out of Indiana.
Yes. I really feel that the Colorado is home. So when I finished my master's, I moved to Denver. We did a few years at a branding agency there where I was an art director. We also did a lot of exhibition design and a design that intersected with the art world and public art world. And then I moved back to Colorado Springs in 2017 as part of the team that opened the Ent Center for the Arts at UCCS.
Yes.
So that
Great
was
job, by the
what
way.
brought me back here, and that was a really exciting challenge. And then I spent a couple years at the Fine Arts Center. So with this sort of degree, study in design, and then experience in arts nonprofit, downtown has been a fantastic, wonderful opportunity for me to combine some of those skill sets, and I get to work closely with our artists in our public art program, and I have a lot of fun doing all the logistics and installation planning with them. And
Where'd you go to high school?
Well, a tiny Presbyterian school called ECA. It was like 30
I know
people in my
ECA,
graduating class.
Yeah, Billy Summit.
Yeah.
Connection, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
He knows the most random
Yes.
things.
Not only that,
facts
but
in
they
your
have
brain.
some serious basketball programs at ECA.
Yeah, they did.
They
They always tried to recruit me because I'm tall and I can run. I was like, yes, but there's some critical skills missing, mainly ball handling.
Yeah, a brag dad moment for me. My kids went to Doherty here, but my daughter has a mural at CU Denver.
Oh, wow.
In her
Amazing.
honor. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So a big giant mural. I'll show you when we finish. So
Yeah, I want to see it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, so yes, and they've done such wonderful work. But I won't get on that. That's a whole. I could use a whole show bragging about my
Yes,
children.
you could.
Yeah, so.
It's a good dad.
As any dad.
So Michelle, I'm just curious, are you an artist yourself?
Yeah, so I have a printmaking background. I don't do a lot of printmaking these days. I feel like I'm in a phase of life where I'm doing more coordinating and gathering other creatives than I am making work myself. And then I dabble in furniture design every once in a while. I like to do a little bit of carpentry. And sometimes I teach letterpress workshops. I've done that the past couple years, maybe one a year the past couple years here in town.
Yeah, that is so awesome. Thanks for sharing a little bit of your background. Thanks for being native. And thanks for welcoming us.
Yes.
All that art.
Of course.
Where are you from, Susan?
I'm originally from California.
Where
But
at?
I've been here a long time, so it's like home.
Don't do a heavy
Where in
sigh.
Sniff.
Well, you predated the big slide.
Yeah.
Like the Bay Area or
I
Southern
said
Cal?
Central.
Oh,
Neither
Central.
northern
Oh,
nor
okay.
southern. I would be central.
I'm a Bay Area girl.
My wife's from
okay.
San Luis Obispo.
I
so
went to
can't
school.
say-
Oh, that's where I went to school. Cal Poly San Luis Obispo.
Yeah,
We're
see?
just gonna keep
Cal
finding all these
Poly.
connections.
Small world.
So do you ride horses? Because Cal Poly has the nice horses and stuff.
No, I do not.
Okay.
But yeah,
It's
but
gorgeous though.
no, it's a great school. It's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Awesome.
Frank is speechless. I think we achieved.
He has nothing to say about California except for that he loves the ocean.
One
It's
of the
beautiful.
best things in my life came from California.
Yes,
Yeah.
Michelle.
So absolutely.
The other
yeah.
Michelle.
Two
The other
L's.
Michelle.
Yeah,
Queen Michelle
Yeah.
Sinclair.
Indeed, indeed. Jonathan? Yes? Yeah. So it gives, I was expecting someone else. I knew Cultural Center was good. This is no deficit on you. So don't take it that way. But I met a guy from the Cultural Center. Is there a CEO? Or
You're thinking of Andy Vick.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Andy was the previous executive director.
Is he gone?
He is.
Oh,
Angela
who?
Seals is our executive director.
Who?
Angela Seals.
Angela Seals.
Seals like the animal, as she
Oh,
says.
I have not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to meet her.
She's new,
Yeah.
but she was the deputy director for 8-9 years
Right.
prior to becoming the executive director,
Okay,
and
okay.
I've been there with her working. And we're a staff of 3 right now, but we're hiring to get back up to 5, well 4.5. But yeah, you should absolutely meet Angela. She's great.
I would love to, yeah. But that said, let's tell us about Jonathan.
Yeah, you're going to need 2 signatures, Frank, because I'm also a Pikes Peak region native. So Michelle and I in a room, just like is a crazy experience.
Yeah. But let's be generous. This whole who got here first?
Right.
Like, none of us got the Ute were here before all of us.
Yes.
And so
Yeah.
we don't want to have the hostility is weird to me. I don't.
What hostility?
Well, when people are mad at people moving here from Texas and California, let's just welcome everyone
We are.
I see.
who contributes
Yes.
to the community.
We're welcoming. You feel better?
Yeah, I wasn't.
Yeah, I think we're here personally.
No, I'm so sorry. I did not mean you. I
I'm
meant
just
the
joking.
general. The general here.
You hear about that
Native
pushback,
versus-
no.
yeah.
But it's pretty common that people are protective of their culture. They don't,
Yes.
and we had some humongous amounts of change in the area, and I think that it's fair that some people feel that is a little more than that they're comfortable with, and I think it's also fair that some think that we're not changing fast enough. Those are the dynamics of growth, right? So
Yes.
it's no biggie.
Yeah.
We're good.
We're good.
Okay, love you.
You too.
That's why they have those stickers, Frank. This is not a native, but I got here as fast as I could. That's why they have those stickers.
You hadn't seen it?
No, I like that.
Anyway, I'm from Manitou originally, so 20 minutes that way. Grew up again with Michelle. Outdoors was a big part of my life. Playing sports, we played ECA in a lot of our sports, but went to UCCS and spent time there again. In sort of Susan's comment about journalism, I ran the student newspaper there for a couple years and have freelanced and been a journalist since then. But really, storytelling is in my blood and in my veins. And when I graduated school, I got this opportunity at the Cultural Office to run Peak Radar, which is the promotional platform for the arts. It's an event calendar for the region where people can check out what's going on, and that really appealed to the storytelling part of my background and interest in being part of that ongoing story that we tell of the Pikes Peak region and the things that happen here and the work that's being done. And it's also just a cool place to stay connected to the 400 bajillion things that are happening in the Pikes Peak region, in downtown and elsewhere. And so I have been focused on Peak Radar for a few years, and then was the communications director. And now, as a program manager, I focus on cultural promotion and tourism. So working with organizations like Visit COS, Pikes Peak Region Attractions, Pikes Peak Lodging Association, Downtown Partnership, of course, to really illustrate the vitality of the region, both to locals and tourists when they come here.
Yeah, so tell us, and especially anyone that may be listening to us, what is the greatest value of the Cultural Center for the average human that lives here on the Front Range?
Well, wow.
That's loaded. Let's jump in.
Big question.
There's a lot to that. I mean, I think first and foremost, there's a quality of life component, right? When you have these opportunities to pursue the arts and really things that are happening overall. Part of the power of Peak Radar is that it'll have your core arts events. It'll have theater shows. It'll have live music. It'll have those sorts of things. But you'll also find Switchbacks games and the Western Museum of Mining and Industry, and all sorts of other ways to plug in. And I think that quality of life and being able to stay connected to your community is so important, especially that we found in COVID, really, that we have to come out and be connected to humans and to things that are happening, and you have to get out of your shell every once in a while. And so I think having the richness of opportunities that we have allows people to plug in ways that they're comfortable with, or in ways that they have known from past experiences. So if you're not ready to jump into a class at Bemis School of Art, that's okay. You can sit in the stadium at a Switchbacks game and then work your way up to taking that art class.
Yeah, good job.
Oh, thank you. I've had many years of practice.
I have a quick question. Before COVID and all that, you had the hands-on art center going on at the, where was it, at the Fine Arts? Or near there.
The
Are they still
Tactile Gallery?
doing that?
Is that?
I think so. It's upstairs, downstairs. They have hands-on stuff.
Cottonwood Center for the Arts. We're just going to start throwing out
Yeah.
names everywhere.
It was right downtown. I used to take my daughter there all the time. I think it's across the street from the Fine Arts Center, or
Because the Fine Arts Center does have a gallery that's called the Tactile Gallery, and it's all artworks that are meant to be touched.
Oh yeah, not that.
Okay.
No, it was something separate, but kind of like a workspace where people can come in and do their artwork. They can bring their
Might
kids.
have been Bemis, because it's tucked right behind the Fine Arts Center.
Yes.
Yes, Bemis School of Art.
Yes, that
Yes.
was it. Okay. Is that still going on?
It
that
is.
live and thriving? Can
Yeah.
parents still bring their kids?
Yes.
Do you want to share a little bit about
And
that?
it's not just kids, it's
Right.
adults too, right?
Yes,
So,
both.
yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
But I thought it was a great space that I could bring my kid, and she
Yeah.
thrived in
Bemis does really fantastic work. Since I worked at the Fine Arts Center,
Yeah.
briefly I can
Right, yeah.
tell it a little bit. So they have, they do a number of different classes. So they have classes for adults, they have classes for children, and they have a whole series of classes for veterans that they've done for a number of years.
Yes.
So that sort of art therapy type of approach. It's really a fantastic resource.
fabulous.
So it's anyone who wants to be creative, and you really don't need any prior experience if you're a person who thinks, oh, I'm not creative, I'm using air quotes here, or
Yeah.
I'm bad at art or whatever. There's something for everyone to just have that expressive part of your life. And so yes, they absolutely are still teaching classes over there.
Awesome. Okay. Good.
Just with anything, the more you practice, the better you get at it.
Yes, exactly.
So art is that way too, and the Fine Arts Center in Bemis is one of those anchor sort of institutions culturally. Before it was the Fine Arts Center, it was the Broadmoor Art Academy in the early 1900s, and people came here from all around the country to practice and make art here.
Really?
So yeah, that part of our the Colorado Springs Pikes Peak region world has been here for a very long time as
And
artists coming.
it's really cool because, and I can't remember the architect for the center won a silver medal internationally for the architectural design, and
John Gami.
John Gami.
Oh.
And I believe it was one of the first in the nation that had a theater, a museum, and an art school all in. So that model was innovative even in the 1930s, and then it's carried through till today.
It's awesome. That's awesome. You have something to tell us.
I do.
Yeah, look at my face. I can tell. You look down, you can share it.
Oh, yeah, yes.
The phone notes.
I mean, we all have notes.
Yes,
Yeah,
right.
we all have things to
This
share,
is
not
a
just me.
note-taking crew here, by the way, which the listeners are probably
Take it
laughing.
seriously.
Because they're like, wait,
We came
this
prepared.
is the Frank and Alicia show. We're here to be encouraged.
So my notes are about this year's 25th annual Art on the Streets public art exhibition, which we're very excited about. So for people who aren't familiar, 25 years ago, Art on the Streets has started bringing public art to downtown annually. So we have them for a year, and then sometimes we're able to do a purchase and they become part of the city's public art collection permanently.
Yeah.
And then other times they go to other communities. So it's a great cultural exchange too, if you think about it. We get art from different artists from different areas, and then we get to enjoy it, and then it gets to go other places. So this year, our participating artists, we had a very strong Colorado representation.
Awesome.
And we have 3 arts. And it was a. So we have 2 artists from the Pikes Peak region that are participating. We have 6 from elsewhere in Colorado. We have 1 from Arkansas, 1 from Louisiana, 1 from Canada, and 1 from New Zealand.
Oh my.
So it's always a really interesting. What are our regional voices and how are they speaking to our cultural community in our downtown? But then also fantastic relationships with artists over the years. There's a muralist named Kim Carlino who's done several pieces for us, and she always hires a local assistant. And I love that because but now I've had this experience, I'd love to expand my own work in that way.
Wow.
So I love the exchange that we get to have both with our regional artists and highlighting their talent and folks further afield.
Yeah, because it's like a total art collaboration in our nation, and they see the best of the Springs, right?
For their installs, and I had the sweetest phone conversation with one of the artists. Thank you so much for selecting my piece. I'm honored that my work is something you've chosen to represent the beauty of your community.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
And said, how cool is it to be a public artist? Because
Yes.
that's what you get to do.
That's what it's all about. I love
that's
that.
So awesome.
Yeah.
You know, Susan, I was there when in your installation in this new job. Do you remember that? I was standing there.
Oh,
Well,
I did not know that.
Yes, I was.
You were unnoticeable that day, but you were there. You could say
But
you
I
were
was
there.
there.
Yes.
Yeah, the only black guy in the room.
Oh,
I'm just
like
saying.
that probably happens to you a lot in Colorado.
But 10 years. Tell us some of the great things that you've seen transpire during your time in this space.
Oh my goodness, so much in 10 years, but one thing that I am proud of is we have a plan, right? You just talked about us having notes and plans, right? So our plan that Guys Are Worth the Experience downtown plan involved input from literally thousands of people, and it was a major update to our it's both an economic development City Council in 2016, and we're actually accomplishing the things that are in the plan instead of you go through these dreaming planning processes and nothing happens. So its own independent nonprofit providing bike share in really central and western Colorado Springs. One of our biggest goals that we've had for a long time is we need more people living downtown, right? To really make it a neighborhood. And the best thing we can do for our small businesses is have people living near them, right?
Yes.
Exactly.
So you've seen a few apartments that have opened in the past handful of years downtown, and currently you can see a lot of cranes in the sky because there's several apartments under construction. So in these next 2 years, we're going to be opening 2,000 apartment units downtown.
Wow.
But we've never had things at a pace like that before. So I think that's just going to change the character and the feel of downtown, right? Because both for visitors too, whenever you visit somewhere, you want to be where the locals are, right? You don't just go to the attraction that's just full of other out-of-town people. And especially, as I mentioned, for those small businesses. I mean, the one thing during the pandemic that was always, we had a lot of difficulties, but the thing that always just crushed me was if we'd just been a little bit further along in our goals of people living downtown, that would be that many more people who every day were motivated to get up and support their coffee shop right next door. That was their favorite joint, right? But especially for our small businesses to have, it's a different kind of person that wants to live urban, right? They want somewhere walkable, bikeable, not to have to use their car. They care about independent shops and restaurants probably a little bit more than others. And they're choosing to live downtown because of the great arts and culture, the great independent restaurants, Switchbacks game, all of those things. So having a couple thousand more people to support our small businesses and our other enterprises, I think is going to be really transformative. So that's what's exciting to me right now, is thinking about more people living downtown. in addition to all the great new things we've created, right, with the new City for Champions enterprises being the Widener Field at Robeson Arena and the and just seeing our small businesses, you know, it is not easy, right, to be an independent restaurant or retailer, and it is still hard, even though we're sort of through most of the pandemic, if you will, but it is still hard. And so we are just deeply devoted to our small businesses and helping them in any way we can. You know, we're really proud that over 90% of our storefront businesses are locally owned and operated.
That's an incredible
That's what makes
number.
downtown.
That is great.
I think that's what
Yeah.
makes downtown really special.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to throw a wrench in here, okay? 'Cause I'm
Sure.
Yeah,
All right.
Let's do
okay.
it.
You're,
Bring
you're
it.
the host.
Bring
You
it,
get
Frank.
to-
Yeah, right. Now, what it looks like to me, so tell me I'm wrong. I really want to be wrong here. I really do. Is that there's a certain type of human that are going to be in these 2,000 new apartments. Most are going to be incredible professional people, right, etc. How are we going to bridge the gap of more diversity
Yeah.
in these spaces downtown, where we don't create a space where the whole downtown looks the same?
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good question. And, you know, we don't have enough time in here to go into the complexity around, frankly, the incredible housing shortage we're facing citywide, right?
Right.
It's been estimated that we are at least 12,000 units short in our city. And with the growth that's projected, that actually is more like upwards of 20,000 in terms of the people we know are moving here and how do we accommodate all that. So for downtown, we are trying to just do our part to create more housing, period. And again, with 1 square mile of a 200 square mile city, we're definitely punching above our weight there. Here's the challenge we have downtown. We went as a downtown 50 years, literally 50 years, without new construction in our core. Blue Dot Place kind of broke that mold, right, when they opened with 33 units a handful of years ago. So what we have right now is literally, understandably, with that pent-up demand, the pricing is a little different. But this is how we get the pricing moderated. We now have so many places opening, they're going to have to compete with each other, right? And so we already are seeing, like, there's a great new property that's just opening now, part of what we count in those 2,000 units, called Vim. And it's, you know, developed by Norwood that have other properties downtown, but this one, they're pricing differently to be more workforce kind of housing, right? Because they want to make sure that people who work downtown can afford to live downtown. So what it's going to take to make that accessible is to have enough housing that the price becomes competitive. Because if you're the only one, you can kind of command any price.
Right.
And of course, the other challenge that every urban center has is the cost of land is greater, and it is far more expensive to build in an urban core than like suburban greenfield with like surface parking lots instead of structured parking. All those other things. But we do have some financial tools to kind of help close the gap. But what I will say that I'm really excited just to talk about briefly, one of the initiatives we took on ourselves, you know, so even as we partner or work with all these other entities opening new businesses and developing new properties, because of that affordability piece and because of our commitment to our creative district.
You read my mind. So.
Yes. we, our Downtown Development Authority, took on, you know, that own initiative to work with nonprofit developers out of Minneapolis called ArtSpace. And we just broke ground two and a half weeks ago on what will be affordable housing for creatives in the downtown core.
Really? Wow.
And 51 units live workspace. There'll also be about 20 artist studios on the ground level, and it is income qualified. So it will be for people making 60% area median income or lower. So that's number one is, first, you're going to income qualify. If you're above that, then you won't qualify. You find some other place, right? Yeah. But then also being able to have sort of what's called an artist or creative, a real commitment. And when we say art, not just visual art, we're talking performers, tattoo artists, chefs, right? All the people who add vibrancy, dancers, all the people who add vibrancy to our community, because what happens is, one, artists tend to be the first to get priced out of a community when it really takes off. or they end up having to abandon their art just to, pay the bills and make a living, right? And we know some of these people carry 2 or 3 jobs or whatever. What we don't want is that great painter or that great dancer or composer or whoever to say, I've got to give up my music because I just can't afford it, right? They may still have that daytime retail job or whatever, but we just don't want them to have to give up on that creative thing that means they're a musician in our churches or they're teaching our kids art or whatever. So we don't want our artists to have to abandon their art just to be able to afford where they live. So we're really excited about that, and that's literally, I think today some of the demo on the property is starting, but it's starting under construction right now. And it'll open late next year.
A fist bump.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, get a fist bump from Greg. Right.
Yeah, that's right.
After dinner.
I have a question for Susan. So I want to speak to the woman in you, the leader, the climbing the corporate ladder, what brought you to where you're at today, because that's literally why you're sitting here. I wanted you in this room so that, because other women need to hear, what is it that brought you to where you're at and to gain the confidence and climb that corporate ladder so that you can be in the position that you're in today to pour out to our city?
What an interesting question, Lisa. It was not like if you had told me years ago this is what I would be doing, I couldn't even fathom that. As starting as a journalist, I still say my tombstone will say journalist because when it's kind of in your blood, but just as Jonathan was talking about storytelling, I think storytelling's been kind of a through line to everything I've done that then just led to, yes, being prepared, like with my journalism degree at some point I'm like, that's high burnout. And so I got my master's at UCCS in public administration. So then I was ready when an opportunity came along that was the next opportunity. So, certainly being ready for that next opportunity. But I would say, since you sort of referenced this as also being female, I turned to my other female friends. I have a really strong group of supported gal friends. We get together, drink wine, talk about things in our community. We have been through births, deaths, marriages, divorces, new jobs. Like, we just support each other through everything. So it's great to have just a group of pals that have your back, right?
Yes,
and always have each other's back. So
And
that's been a huge
Susan
part
can
of it.
throw down on some wine.
He's saying that to me because he looks at me.
No,
Can we throw that in for free?
well, maybe we should get a sponsor for that. We need
A wine sponsor for the show. Did you hear that? And we can say it was Susan's idea. She's got friends. I'm sure you have sommeliers
Yes, yeah, I'll
in
just
your
be
back
like,
pocket.
well, let me tell you, Frank, as I'm sipping my La Crema Chardonnay. Oh my.
We talk about cultural center. We know all of this. It's kind of in a framework of cultural work, right? If we think about, because I do culture change management for organizations, which is something totally different than what we're talking about today. So what gives this space the authority to use that word, culture?
That's a good one for Michelle. But I think
So if we want to talk about our data points, we have, as a certified creative district, there's something called the Cultural Vitality Index. So it measures the amount of economic creative activity, and our downtown creative district is 6 times the national average. So that looks at the number of creative industry jobs, et cetera, and how many nonprofits we have in the space and all of that. So that report just got updated, and we're sitting at 6 times the.
I think also, Michelle, with our Art on the Streets programs, right? As you mentioned, it's been around 25 years. That started as a sculpture program, and for many years it was just sculpture, which is wonderful, right?
I remember that,
But we also realize, like, sculpture can be a very expensive media, right? Depending upon your materials. It's sort of limited who has opportunity to work in sculpture. And so a handful of years ago, we added murals to Art on the Streets because we wanted more diversity of artists represented, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mural is an art form that's more accessible. Yes, there's cost of paint and certainly the skills and years of learning for an artist, but by specifically adding murals to Art on the Streets, we now just have a broader range of voices that are represented. And I think people can see that in the murals that have gone up, especially the past couple of years downtown, because we want people to see themselves downtown, see themselves reflected in some way.
That's great.
The service area for the cultural office includes downtown, but it's El Paso and Teller County for us. So we cover everything: Woodland Park, Monument, Fountain, and there is art happening in all of those spaces, all of those places in different ways. There's different public art programs. Manitou is a certified creative district also. So the depth and breadth, I think, of the arts opportunities in the region is really, to me, that's what showcases the word cultural, right? As you were talking about. Michelle brought some numbers, so I'll bring a number too. Every 5 years or so, we run the Arts and Economic Prosperity study for that 2-county region, and we're just in the middle of finishing up the next one. But the most recent data was $153 million impact of just the nonprofit arts and culture sector in the 2-county region. So there's also a hard economic growth tourism numbers that also pair with the hundreds of arts organizations that you can find on a place like peakradar.com. So I think that combines to tell the story of a solid downtown, obviously, along.
Bring up the word culture. If we talk about creating a more vibrant cultural experience for human beings, that we immediately think of downtown. How can that be expanded where we're thinking about more of Colorado Springs from a cultural standpoint?
Yeah, I think that the tent is large, right? Again, on Peak Radar, you'll see visual and culinary arts. You'll see music and dance. You'll see family fun events. So the word is broad, and you don't have to define yourself to I don't paint, therefore I'm not a cultural person or an artist, right? So the tent is broad, and I think illustrating the places where art does happen, because it can happen anywhere, and you can be in a more sort of a building that doesn't look like an arts building can have art happening in it.
Yes.
And so illustrating to folks where they can find those places and showcasing, they might be closer to where they live too. That's part of it too, is where do we get art, next door to you and in those spaces. So that's part of our work too.
So are we branding downtown as our cultural district? Do you think that's fair for me to say?
Well, certainly it is, because we're certified by the state of Colorado as a creative district, which is sort of a rigorous application process, right? So not every community or node of a larger city can be a certified creative district. But going back to that larger point, I mean, there is creativity all over. And, I was just going to add to what Jonathan said that, a couple of years ago, the city adopted a public art master plan, right, for the whole city. And people often look at downtown with our great Art on the Streets program, and I want to reiterate, it is not taxpayer funded, right? It is all
Thank you for reiterating
sponsors, grants, and donations. So yes, it happens downtown because a downtown organization committed to bettering downtown fundraises and secures funding, has someone talented like Michelle to run the program and commit to that. As our city adopted a public art master plan, but our city doesn't have an actual public art director that could help guide other neighborhoods and other nodes, like we want to do a mural but we don't know how to commission it, or we want to improve our park and we'd like some art. I would love to see that. While there is art everywhere, but I'd love to see that sort of professional assistance that can ripple out throughout the community for other neighborhoods that want more public art in their neighborhood, and know how to do it, in ways that are respectful to the artist too, not just win it for free or something.
Right.
Because I think we've even seen the impact. You were talking about the murals, addition of murals earlier. We've seen more and more property owners or business owners want to add murals as a business improvement or their storefront improvement. And I like to think that's at least partially inspired by seeing all the murals start to go up from Art on the Streets. Say, oh, I could do that too. And we certainly consult with a lot of different community organizations. I get cold calls all the time, and sometimes from other cities, of how is your program structured, or hey, I got a call from someone in Pueblo about structural engineering for their sculpture pads, and we are of course community minded and want to support everyone else's endeavors as much as we can.
Yes. So with that being said, you guys, I try to throw out not always softballs, right? So you can, but I really appreciate the way that you've framed the answers to the things that I'm looking for here. And I think our community is looking for as well, because this is a transient city. And a lot of time transiency means it's difficult to connect with things that mean a lot to you. And I think we can do a better job of projecting opportunities and informing the populace about the things that are happening in the Springs, so that it can ripple out further.
Well, and that's why I love that Peak Radar. You can also sign up for they have like a weekly e-newsletter, and all the time when I meet people new to the community, I point them that way. And I still remember last year I was helping out when Michelle was unavailable, and I gave a walking tour downtown last year, and there was a couple who had just moved here from New Mexico, and one of them being from Santa Fe, the other from Albuquerque. And you think about Santa Fe and their art scene, and they're like, oh my gosh, we love it here. The art's more accessible, right? Like, so it's not just like behind elite gallery walls or whatever.
Yes.
But they discovered Peak Radar, and through that they met other people, because then they have ways to connect. And so you're right, it is, I think, really tough for people passing through or being new to town. It's always hard to kind of find your group or whatever, but that's one thing I love about the arts, is that it usually becomes a way that you can find people that share something in common and want to do fun things.
Yeah. Thank you for the Peak Radar plug, Susan.
Well,
the $5.
Yeah.
I can plug it 3 or 4 times.
Oh, okay, all right.
If it's $5 a plug.
Peak Radar, Peak Radar,
Talked
Peak
about that
Radar, Peak
before
Radar.
the show.
Did I say $5?
Do you also take wine sponsorship?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Susan and I are starting a wine club.
Well, and Frank, you're right that, when the Cultural Office was founded and when Peak Radar began, it was because these arts groups, they said the first thing we need help with is marketing. To reach our audience, to reach new audiences, because these artists are busy doing the thing, right? They're putting on the show, they're making the art. And so that's where Peak Radar came in. And it, to me, has always been the answer to the question or the thought, there's nothing to do here. A, you're wrong, and B, let me illustrate 3,800 events per year as to why you're wrong. And so having that way to plug in and find that niche, find that moment, and just, I think the second part is just giving it a go, right? And saying, I'm going to try the gallery, I'm going to try Cottonwood, I'm going to try Bemis, and just see what it's like. Because that's often the biggest hurdle, is not necessarily identifying what you want to do, but deciding to go do it.
Indeed. Jonathan, what a great segue, as we're getting close to the end of our show today. Tell people how to engage Peak Radar and all of the things that you can push out to our community, so that they can be more informed.
Sure, absolutely. PeakRadar.com is the website, and that's the event calendar where you can search by date range, by topic of event. So if you know you have family coming into town in the middle of May, you can search out in advance to see what's going to be happening. Peak Radar has 5 separate social platforms that you can plug in. That's a great way to stay connected. I'll plug Kate, my colleague, who on Instagram has What to Do Wednesday, where Kate is live telling folks a few events that they can check out. So really, it's a big marketing platform that not only can people learn about events that they might attend, but we rely on our arts groups and community groups to post their events to peakradar.com. So it's a great free way to illustrate and to reach a new audience with the events that you're having. So it's kind of this twofold relationship that we have. But that's the great place to start, and then once you sort of dive in a little bit there, you can see more. So peakradar.com is where I would start. One more plug. I have to. Springs Media and the Cultural Office are putting together creative stays. There will be 13 of them at the end, and it's coscreativestays.com has all of them. And it's 13 local creatives that are basically giving a weekend tour of what they would do while they were here. So illustrating local arts venues, local live music places, places to eat, places to hike. All of that are in these itineraries that have been built. So that's another way, even if it's a staycation, right? Check that out and try to brainstorm places that you may not have been before.
Indeed, thank you. You did a wonderful job.
Yeah.
No, thanks.
Yeah, indeed. Michelle, tell them how to reach you and etc.
So we'll be launching our new Art on the Streets exhibition on the first Friday in June.
Woo!
Yeah.
So if you would like to come check out all of the new artwork, which you absolutely should.
Yes.
We have an opening scavenger hunt event. It's family friendly. It's a lot of fun. We see last year there was a group of friends who all brought their bikes and did it on their bikes. But at each artwork, we'll have a host who tells you a little bit about the piece and then a little activity or giveaway. So it's a really fun way to explore downtown.
Yeah, thank you for what you do. We are so needed in our community. You obviously do it incredibly well, so thank you. Susan, everyone in America wants to...
I don't think all of America wants to know. But I'll just remind folks, our website is downtowncs.com. So on that you can sign up for our e-newsletter. Comes every other week. So both events, but it's also sometimes, public meetings, important things in the city for folks to know about. So it's newsy as well as sometimes events, but especially on our social media. So Downtown Colorado Springs on Facebook and Instagram is really active. And that's where you're going to be the hero to your family, because you're going to find about the cool new restaurant that just opened, or the cool bar that just did something really fun. So when you're, again, looking for that activity, but you want to try something new, I think our social media does a great job of cluing folks into that.
Yes, I am a Susan Edmondson fan, and if you're not, shame on you.
I'm a Frank Sinclair fan, and now I'm a Lisa fan too.
You've all been listening to the Be Encouraged Show with Frank and Lisa on Motivation